Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to this webinar. I am Luca Minesso, the head of marketing at BTS Bioengineering. The webinar today is not just about our product and technology, it is more about a vision and a general concept in sports science. In fact, we are here today to explore how a simple movement like the squat jump can reveal how an athlete moves, performs, and recovers. So our goal today is to show you how to turn motion capture into measurable performance. Okay, this is our agenda for today. We will start exploring the why and how behind the squat jump. Then Marta will guide you through the different lenses of inertial sensor, EMG, and force plates. And then we will also see why all this integration between these different systems matters and how combining this information in order to create a complete biodigital twin of an athlete. As usual, we will close with a Q&A section. Please feel free to listen without taking any note, as we will deliver a full registration of the webinar by email in the next days. So the squat jump, why the squat jump? People say that it's a truth teller. The simple secret behind the squat jump is that by removing all the counter movement contribution, we take away the elastic help. So what remains when we do a squat jump is a pure concentric action, which is a clear window of neuromuscular efficiency. So this makes the squat jump the perfect assessment for explosive power, coordination, and symmetry evaluation, which are the key performance indicators that we want to track in an athlete. Before starting, we would like to know who is today with us. So if you could please answer this poll. If you are a coach, physio, researcher, or other, this will be very helpful for us to continue trying to answer your needs. Others. Okay, it's quite well distributed. So I close this window. Thank you very much. So let's enter into the squat jump. The science behind the squat jump is crystal clear. The reason why it is considered a superior baseline test, as I said before, it's its mechanism. Removing the counter movement contribution, we ensure that we are testing pure concentric force isolation. And so the result is a reliable baseline for measuring performance, fatigue, and recovery. This is not just theory. There's a lot of scientific documentation and papers supporting this concept. And as you can see in the table here, squat jump is concentric only, meaning that we have a single clean peak curve that simplify the analysis of the parameters. Next. One very important point is to properly perform the squat jump, because data is only as good as the protocol. So to perform correctly the squat jump, important is the starting position, which is a semi-squat with the knee at 90 degrees and hands on hips. Then you should hold this position for 3 seconds. Then have an explosive push, full extension, and then landing in a controlled way, possibly in the same stance of the pushing. The typical common errors are the contribution of the arms, which is not good. The variable depth, so the semi-squat is not exactly the same position. The counter movement contribution, if any, and also the different verbal cue is important to, if you want to have comparable data in time, you need to be sure that the verbal cue is always the same. So once we are sure that we respect the exact test execution, we can analyze the explosive movement through three very powerful lenses that correspond to the core system that Martha will show in a while. So we are able to measure the motion itself, so the movement quality with the inertial sensor. We are able to test the muscle contribution, each muscle contribution, which is the neurological control thanks to the EMG. And then, last but not least, we can measure the forces, which represent the engine of the human body power. So we don't just see one event, but we are able to see three distinct layers of a single truth. Why integration matters? Do we need all these three elements? Ideally, yes, because a human body never operates in fragments, and we should consider the total situation, the whole situation. So the integration reveals the entire athlete and allows to connect performance to recovery, muscle coordination to force and resilience. And by doing this, we are able to create a real biodigital twin of the athlete, and we are able to transform raw data into foresight. So now Martha will enter in details on these three evaluation lenses and discuss the parameters. I leave the stage to Martha.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so we will go through all the ways to analyze squat jumps, but in specific squat jump, starting from the initial measurement unit, so IMU. The G sensor calculates the main spatial temporal parameters during functional movements, and the main features that make this tool the ideal choice of your analysis are first, the fact that it's wearable, easy to use, lightweight, and it's instant feedback, which allows also real-time processing of biomechanical data, and its wireless freedom, which ensures completely natural and unrestricted movement analysis. The sensors, as you see here, is positioned at S1, S2 level of the lower back using different types of belts. Then the squat jump is selected, as you see in the software, from the test series, and the jump is performed very quickly. As you can see, the parameters are after the jump and during the jump also are displayed in real time and also saved directly to the software. The software screen is the one that you see here. So the main parameters that are saved from the acquisition are here. And along with the main three parameters such as maximum jump height, maximum speed, and maximum force. Below you can also find the main parameters relating to squat jump, such as, for example, reactivity index or impact ratio. And all these are estimated metrics by the G sensor. Specifically in this test, so when this athlete jumped, the athlete reached a height of 21.6 centimeters and a max speed of 2.08 meters per second. The peak force was around 1 kilonewtons with moderate rate of force development. From this data, it seems that the athlete demonstrates good force production and acceptable takeoff acceleration, but the jump height is not as high as expected given the decent force values. Beyond the main metrics, on the right side of the screen, you see that the G sensor also provides postural information such as pelvic tilt, pelvic obliquity, and pelvic rotation. This helps to detect compensations and coordination issues even in a simple jump, just one jump. A possible application of this data is to track performance over time. In this example, we have jump height and takeoff speed improving over weeks of an athlete. Both these parameters are estimated in the same way using IMU data, and in this case, jump height we're calculating using jump flight time. Tracking them together, of course, allows to see how the athlete is improving, not only just using one simple parameter, and whether the gain in jump height is driven by increased takeoff velocity, which in this example progresses in a parallel trend. So, in the overview of the application and tools for jump assessment and specifically squat jumps, the G sensor is positioned pretty much here. And just to remind that in this case, we are talking about a wearable solution for the main spatial temporal parameters for very quick evaluation. In addition to spatial temporal parameters, you can also use the surface electromyography that provides even more detailed information about the athlete's performance. The main features that make this tool the ideal choice for you and for your analysis are first, the visualization of how muscle actually activate during movement and what pattern is, the possibility to monitor the activated muscles in real time, and updated algorithms for the recognition of these activation patterns. So you can use them together, the G sensor plus EMG. Here you can see, in addition to the inertial sensor, we used a total of 8 EMG probes that were placed on the main muscles of the lower limb, vastus medialis and lateralis of the quadriceps, and semitendinosus and biceps femoris. Using the software, as you can see here, we select the muscle and capture the movement in real time. From this acquisition, we are working on a new development of the new software that will be pretty much like this. These are the first results, the main results. Here we highlight the amplitudes of the main muscles analyzed, divided into right and left, and amplitudes are also divided in according to the phase of jump, and in this case, of course, specifically during propulsive and landing phase. And from these curves, activation appears balanced in timing between sides with no major delay or abnormal activation burst, and this indicates coordinated motor execution. Also from the results, you can actually see that at landing, vastus medialis is not activating symmetrically right and left. You see during the landing phase, differences between right and left, very, very different. Another screen shows also the HQ ratio and AI index. HQ ratio is the hamstring to quadriceps activation ratio. It represents the relative activation level of hamstring muscles compared to quadriceps during tasks and in particular during jumps. A low HQ ratio shows quadriceps dominance, while higher HQ ratio shows greater hamstring co-activation. While the AI, so asymmetry index, is a metric used to quantify the difference in performance or muscle activation between limbs, usually dominant versus non-dominant or injured versus healthy limbs. The symmetry index expresses how much one limb differs from the other in percentage. And in this case, as you see here, it seems that the athlete has a moderate AI in the quadriceps because it's pretty much is moderate, is 12%, and a low AI in the hamstrings, which is 3%. We consider between 0 and 10 a low asymmetry, and between 10 and 20 a moderate asymmetry. So these and other examples can also be applied for injury prevention. These are some data that we found also on papers. And this is a clinical application of the systems that we've just seen. Here we can see the significant differences between the right and left sides and how, after rehabilitation, the level of symmetry returns to the safe zone. So this is another good example of how data can be used actually for prevention. So in the overview of all the applications, I think we can position G sensor and FreeMG pretty much here. Okay, so just to remind you, G sensor is a wearable solution for the main spatial temporal parameters, where you can also add the muscle information, so amplitudes and coordination of muscles during functional movement. So before moving forward, we do a break. We would like to ask you what's the most valuable data for you at the moment. So we just saw two sides, two lenses of how to perform squat jump. Now we go also through the third part, but before moving forward, we would like to understand, okay, what's the most valuable for you at the moment, or like relating to jump analysis? Yeah, 30% of force and symmetry and 37% of movement quality. Not very specific about EMG, like just EMGs. Maybe EMGs can be like an addition of the symmetry, movement quality, and force analysis that you can also add. Okay. Thank you for your answer. Just let's go forward. Okay, so let's now move to the 3D force and video system, which is Podium. This is defined as the gold standard in sport movement. And the main features that make this tool the ideal choice for your analysis are first, the possibility to capture ground reaction forces with 3D force plates. Second, to perform markerless 3D analysis with model reconstruction using AI. And third, to synchronize everything in a single software package. Here we enter the most comprehensive level of assessment, which provides highly accurate and scientifically validated data. Now we show you the assessment that involves 3D force plates, as you see here, in addition with the full HD color cameras, which also allow for real-time 3D angle assessment. We will show you also an example of the new software that we are improving and developing now. So this is how we will perform the squat jump test. So thanks to the camera, you see the software allows real-time assessment of how the subject moves. Exactly. So when the subject drops below 90 degrees, can automatically start. Okay, so this is a sort of reference point that we select in order to start to have a good feedback and a good starting point for the analysis of the parameters related to the jump.
Yeah, so, sure, that makes the data comparable from time to time.
Exactly. So it can also show you, first it gives comparable data and also validated data. So data that can be also compared to validation studies. And these provide, I will show you again.
Yes, please.
This provides objective feedback. So not only just the visual feedback of how the athlete is moving, but very objective feedback on the accuracy of the jump and a measurement tool that helps the sport staff during the test. Okay, so this will start automatically and will show you the exact starting point where the athlete can actually start moving. So this tool is therefore ideal both as an objective method of data acquisition, but also as an assessment tool. And these are the results that will be shown after the acquisition. So here we can see some data from the Podium system. First, on the left part of the screen, you can actually see the data provided by the 3D kinematic analysis. So starting from the cameras. In particular, the knee flexion, which is the reference point, as we also saw before, and below that, the trunk flexion. On the other side of the screen, you see the main parameters and data related to 3D ground reaction forces. So, for example, velocity of head to off, very important because it's the vertical velocity of the body at the exact moment that feet leave the ground. Very important because it tells how efficiently force is converted into upward motion. Power, that also represents the rate at which the athlete can generate force and produce work during the movement. And is an important key metric for explosive strength, useful for tracking also return to play, return to sport progression. And in this case, this jump shows good mechanism and controlled force application, as you see here, but moderate explosive output. This is just an example of a jump that was done by an athlete, but you see that the athlete here pushes efficiently, but with the low medium RFD and low medium net impulse. Another example of data that you can you can find with the podium system here is the load distribution divided into propulsive and landing phases. In particular, we can evaluate real-time symmetry between right and left to detect compensation patterns due to pain, weakness, fear loading, etc. Peak force to evaluate also maximal strength capacity in explosive tasks and compare limbs to detect strength deficits. So these are just example of data that you will find on the software, and everything will be integrated in between ground reaction forces with also the force vectors in real time and HD color cameras. We show here another example of application, which is actually a return to play of an athlete that compared baseline, so pre-injury or early rehab with post-rehab results. And you see across all the main metrics, all the main ground reaction force metrics, such as jump height, peak force, symmetry, RFD, the athlete actually has returned to 97, 98% of baseline. So this reflects a very good recovery status. So this is how you can actually apply your data also to your clinical or sport routine. So in the overview of these applications and tool for jump assessment, you put podium and 3D kinematic analysis pretty much among here. And finally, we can also complete with a complete picture. So we can bring everything together. We can actually combine inertial sensor, EMGs, force plates all together to quantify and to form a complete biomechanical finger point of performance. This is the example of the analysis with all the data, all the tools together. So starting with EMGs, so placing EMG probes, then of course standing on the force plates, and then finally performing the jump also using HD color cameras that allow to analyze, yeah, you see the markerless skeleton here. So the strength of this system lies in the complete integration of all motion analysis systems into a single software package. From the acquisition to the final report, the system provides synchronization and real-time analysis. So just to conclude, in the overview of this application and tools for jump assessment, podium, 3D, kinematic analysis, and surface EMGs are pretty much in the center of a comprehensive biomechanical assessment. I hope this was clear. I will give back the stage to Luca.
Thank you, Marta. It was absolutely very clear. Thank you very much. Now, I am an engineer and you are a clinician. So my question to you is, how often do you need to test athletes with technology? Give us some indication based on your clinical experience and evaluation.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand also the timing of the evaluation. Sometimes very good assessment and precise assessment also takes time. So I would suggest and I would go through a very precise initial analysis. And of course, monitoring of the athlete also over time, but in between also trials and tests, it would be also good to use like different types of tools, such as, for example, the most wearable and easy to use, in order to do also like quicker and faster analysis in between complete tests, complete evaluation. So I would say one before starting game or before starting the game season or the year, and then like mid-season and after like 1 year of training, performance, or return to play or recovery. And also like few more tests in between, like with more wearable and easy to use systems.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and one thing, I've been working with professional athletes as well in the past. So compared to the clinical world, where you typically have normal values, the unique things of working with athletes, especially with professional athletes, is that the normal values do not exist by definition, because each athlete is a very unique and special machine which need to be compared with his own normal values. So it's important to track these athletes, these very special athletes, because if you try to apply the normal values, you risk to make mistakes. So it's important to test all of them and to have a baseline, which is, okay, you can do also by specific sport or a specific role in different sports, but at the end, measuring at least one by one is absolutely important for injury prevention and recover after a potential injury. So again, thank you. So now, before going on, we have a nice video testimonial that we would like to show you. So let me see if I can make it go.
How you doing? My name is Jamie Pigman. I'm an assistant professor in the Health and Physical Education Department here at Monmouth University.
I'm Stefano Maldifassi, founder of High Performance Method here in Milan.
My name is Carlos Castillo. I am the director at the laboratories at the School of Health and Sport Science at the Fundación Universitaria Gariandina in Bogotà, Colombia.
Massa Manuele, titolare del Centro Zeri di Professione e Benessere, diplomato ISEF, preparatore atletico ed esperto di riabilitazione.
I'm here to show you our BTS podium system. The BTS podium system has become an essential tool for our research as well as our teaching.
For us, Podium is a key tool to make safer and more informed decisions. The system gives us clear, objective data in a few minutes and help us detect the asymmetry we would otherwise miss.
As an analysis tool for generating predictive model for optimizing athletic performance and preventing injuries.
Utilizzo Podium per migliorare la prestazione, per riabilitazione e per la prevenzione di infortuni, e lo consiglio a tutti coloro che si occupano di movimento.
So thanks to our customer and friends that gave us this contribution. It's much longer than what we just showed you today, but we didn't have time to show all the way they are using this system. Of course, if any of you would need specific description, the videos are available, or we can put you in touch with all the guys that are already using this kind of technology. Last but not least, the last poll is last question for you. Would you consider to integrate, if you're not doing yet, this kind of analysis in your workflow routine? That's very interesting. Thank you very much. The 20% not yet, we will try to convince you that this is a very important tool for your daily activity. So my last slide is this one. We believe that those are the 3 steps to heaven, because first step, get reliable data with validated tools and standardized protocols. This is mainly our job. BTS know how to do validated tools and give you the right instruction to make a test in a proper way. So this way, you're sure that you get reliable data. The second step is interpreting context. You don't have to look just at one number, one tool or one high jump high or whatever, but you have to combine more data, not only data coming from a BTS system, other system as well that you might have, other kind of evaluation that you used to do with your athletes, because only with the complete picture and understanding of the athlete, you can move to the third step, which is act for improvement. That means transforming the insights that you are measuring into actionable plan. So data, insight, and performance, this is the road to the path to success. Okay, questions? Raul, is the software upgrade available for free? I don't know. It depends which software you have right now. And your sales responsible will get back to you directly and discuss with you. Is there a specific athlete that the sensor works best for? No, I would say that this kind of evaluation is valid for any athlete, from golf players to football players to the guy that we tested here last week that you saw in the video was a water polo player, and we were testing jump because he has problem at one leg. So I would say no, there is no specific sport activity. I did professional bicycle riders in my previous life, so any kind of sport, because the basic movement that we are testing, which start with posture evaluation, walk, even walk on place evaluation, motor control, very simple squat, not squat jump, squat, are all basic movement that we would ideally need to test to know if our athlete, the motor of our athlete is in a good condition and is capable to express his best performance when he will be in the field doing any kind of sport.
There's another question asking, is the muscle setup for squat jump test fixed, or can we user select the user can select a free setup? You can also actually select a free setup of muscles. So this is fixed because we base also data and validation on literature, but you can also select other muscles that you prefer. You can also have a different number of probes. Here, our protocol is with 8 probes, 8 muscles, 8 electromyography probes, but you can also create a setup with 4 or more than 8. Another question is, okay, there was a comparison of left and right angles, but does that mean the camera needs to be placed on both sides? If estimation can be done from only one side, do you think the accuracy would still be sufficient? We refer this analysis, maybe we didn't mention, sorry about that, to 6 cameras that are all around the body of the athlete, so not just one on the sagittal plane. So actually it is accurate because, of course, as reference, also in the software you just see one side, but actually data come from all the 6 cameras that are all around the athlete.
Let me add something, Marta, please. I know some player in this market is trying to do 3D reconstruction with 2 cameras. I'm speaking about video cameras, high frequency video cameras with AI algorithm. Now we are all going in this direction. I know players trying to do with 2 cameras, which is absolutely insane. We have tested 3 and then 4, and then with 4 cameras, the 3D reconstruction start to be good enough. But finally, we realized that we need at least 6 video cameras around the athlete in order to have a good quality 3-dimensional reconstruction. So we believe that 6 is the minimum. Probably for more complex movement, we will go up to 8 and 12 video cameras to be sure that we are able to reconstruct the 3D model properly with reliable data.
When are
new software available? We are working on it. We don't have a data yet, but we will be able to give you a reliable data beginning of 2026. but all the, let me say, all the calculation and motor behind those system has been already developed. So it is just a matter of putting everything into one nice and easy to use software. Uh, all these systems are already available with the previous generation of software, if you know, the BTS analyzer, the EMG analyzer, the Biobit software, but we are collecting all this information together in one software only, which will be able to drive all the different hardwares. I would say in the first half of 2026, we will have all these available.
I answer Yoni or Johnny, sorry. Do you need to upgrade the cameras as well with Podium? I think you refer to the 2D Podium, maybe. In this case, yes, you would need to upgrade to the 3D Podium system, so with 6 cameras.
Raul, will be possible to extract more control information such as neuromuscular coordination in relation with angular velocity of joint movements, hip, knee, ankle?
Yes, but with the complete system, so Podium and EMG, not with the G sensor, not only the G sensor.
Yeah, because Raul, this is what you're referring is what I mentioned as being the digital twin of the athlete. So if you have this complete biomechanical model of your athlete, you can derive all this information that you were checking for.
And Katerina is asking, I would like to ask whether this test has applicability in clinical population or not athletes. So we decided to
Katerina, we are all athletes. It depends on which is the race that we are doing every day. So for many people, the race is to standing properly and walk properly. So we are all athletes in this sense.
Yeah, we focused on a very sport gesture, squat jump, but of course we are applying also these systems to other clinical movements from gait to postural stability, such as like just standing or walking place. So yes, it will be also applied to more clinical population.
Should ideally be determined by the coach, but the protocol that could develop suggests appropriate training loads based on the result. Okay. Tosho is asking if it's possible to correlate result of this test to recommended appropriate training loads. I would say, Tosho, in principle, yes, for a basic movement. Or let's say when you get an ACL injury, you got an ACL reconstruction. In this case, in scientific paper already exists some guidelines which are telling you a recommended path for retraining this athlete. But as I said before, since these tools can be applied to many different sports, it's very complicated to give general instruction for, I would say, general athletes, because general athletes does not exist by definition. So everything has to be done with specific athlete and based on the level of the athlete and based on the level of also the knowledge of the coach. So I would say yes, for very simple cases like an ACL, not that the ACL is simple itself, but I mean, it's a very standardized situation in which you can recommend something, but generally speaking, it's not easy to recommend specific training after getting some information from the biomechanical evaluation. Tosha, I don't know if I was clear enough. If you have doubts, we can discuss again in another session. It's quite a complicated topic that you raised. Thanks to you. Okay. If you don't have any other question, thank you very, very much. It was very interesting for us. And let's get in touch, connected in the next days directly with us. If you have any doubt, you can contact us and ask anything, or uh, get in touch with your sales person responsible or the distributor in your country for any kind of information you may need related to these topics. So thanks again. Have a nice evening and see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.